Goeiedag, good day, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world.
I've been looking around for salvation.
Goeiedag, good day, South Africans and citizens of the world.
All around me I see frustration. I've been looking around for salvation till I found you.
Goeiedag, good day, South Africans and citizens of the world.
If you're looking for somewhere to go, if you're looking for someone to know, if you're looking for someone to guide you, the loving light will guide you. I know that life outside is so hard. There's a lot of things that can tear you apart. I know the road sometimes feel lonely, but remember you're not the one and only. There's always someone there to help you, a helping hand to pull you through. There's only one thing you should do. Take my hand and join the Love and Life crew. If you're looking for somewhere to go, if you're looking for someone to know, if you're looking for someone to guide you, then that loving light guide you. Oh yeah.
Don't worry, we'll be keeping you busy. Goeienaand, good evening, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world, and welcome to tonight's live stream. Oh my gosh, what a chamos at the start of that live stream. That's what happens when you've got another window open covering this live stream that automatically then kicks in when I go live, and you get the sound and you get the mess, which is what happened. Anyway, we got it sorted. That's all that matters. Now, first off, summer is here, guys. Summer is here, or spring at least. And Marius, you might like this shirt that I'm wearing. Yep. Loving Life TV, press, stream, truth prevails. And I know Peter Munns will agree with that. Now, guys, let's just have a little bit of admin before we get started with the live stream with Anco Barker. Now, first off, daily email. I know some people are getting it and some people are not. I know, for example, that Marlena's getting hers on a regular basis. I'm not getting mine, so I'm not sure why not. If you're getting the daily email from Loving Life TV, please put 1 in the side chat. If you're not getting it, please put 2. that'll give me an idea of how many people are or aren't getting the email. And you should have got the last couple of days. We're actually having a look into that particular setting to see if we can get something working a bit better. Now, what else can we talk about here in the beginning? Right, okay, let's get straight into our discussion with Anco Barker. And this is a follow-up from the discussion we had, just about 2 or 3 weeks ago regarding what's going on at Mossel Bay with the municipality. Okay, I see we got a couple of ones, but mostly twos. Well, obviously it's working partly. All right, guys, as I say, I've got someone looking into that. I will give that feedback to the web people looking after that particular area. And look, if you don't get the daily email, you can go to the Loving Life homepage, and right at the top you'll see there's a little link there that says daily email. Now, because of the dramatic growth we've had in registered subscribers on Loving Life TV, I had a look a moment ago at the delivery system for the email, and only 90% of those emails have been sent out so far, because we can only send so many per hour. So this could also be just as a result of the incredible growth that we're going through when it comes to people registering on Loving Life TV, which is a good thing. We might just have to upgrade our email service so that we can send more per hour. But look, definitely there is a problem with that email. There were more twos than ones. Alrighty, let's get my guest on, Anco Barker. Here we go. Hi, Anco.
Hi, Scott. How are you?
Excellent, thank you. Excellent. You're looking far more relaxed than you were when we saw you a few weeks ago. Obviously, life is treating you well.
Well, you can say so, yes.
That's good. And as we will find out, I think, later in this live stream, that you've basically been vindicated for your stand that you took. But we're going to go through that tonight.
I have.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Now, the way I remember it from last time was that there'd been this complete remorse with the municipal manager at Mossel Bay, who had been put on a pay scale which was outside what he should have got. And you put up your hand and said, hey guys, there's a problem here. Do you want to just take us through that aspect?
It's a recap.
Sorry, what was that?
You want a recap?
Yeah, just take us through what actually happened, why you resigned regarding the municipal manager. I've got my tongue tied here. Over to you.
Okay, well, just a little bit of background once again. So when the municipal manager was appointed, the mandate was given to the executive mayor to negotiate the salary within specific framework of legislation. And the letters were sent out, the applications, and then that held all of the negotiations. And the provincial minister, Minister Anton Barker, who is a DA minister, he said that Mr. Colin Pireng did not qualify or meet the requirements for maximum salary. He only scored superior in 1 out of 12 competency matrices. And thereafter it went to the national minister, and the national minister then wrote back, and she said that he will be appointed on the minimum salary level. But then the executive mayor in Mossel Bay, he presented these letters to the DA caucus only, not to the opposition parties. And he decided to have a an item on the agenda drawn up that was totally manipulated, trying to tell everybody, the opposition parties as well as the rest of Mossel Bay, that the municipal manager did meet the requirements for the maximum salary, and he also then withheld the letters of both ministers so that it wasn't available to see what was actually said.
Wow.
And he was appointed on the maximum salary level, and thereafter I wrote to the DA leadership. I wanted them to intervene and to fix what the DA has done in Mossel Bay, but unfortunately, when I realized that they will never intervene and they are not going to change it, I decided to leave the political party because I won't be part of something like that. So yeah, just in a nutshell, that is what happened.
Right. Now, what has happened since our last live stream?
Okay, so the community of Mossel Bay is very unhappy at the moment. There was a electricity tariff increase of 434 Rand per household in Mossel Bay, and that is to everybody. So we've got communities that really struggle, poor communities, and they just can't afford the 434 Rand, and that together with the corruption, with the municipal manager's salary, that just created absolute chaos in Mossel Bay, obviously. And the community decided, I think it was about a month ago, that they want a community meeting because of the fact that they lost trust in the Democratic Alliance. They only decided to invite the opposition parties in council. The DA then obviously tried to create a false narrative because the ANC is part of opposition parties. So the ANC, the Freedom Front Plus, ACDP, and ICOSA, and the Patriotic Alliance was invited to this meeting to discuss, or not discuss, but to explain to the communities in Mossel Bay what has happened, with the budget and the 434 Rand on the electricity tariff, the corruption with regards to the appointment or the salary scale of the municipal manager. They wanted answers, and they didn't want it from the Democratic Alliance. Like I said, people have lost their trust in Mossel Bay in the Democratic Alliance. So yes, the DA then decided that they are going to try and spread this false narrative that the Freedom Front Plus and the ACDP is working with the ANC in Mossel Bay, which is absolutely nonsense. That also led to a video that I have also put on Twitter and Facebook and TikTok. Unfortunately, Mrs. Helen Ziller did not react to my video, but it was a very good meeting. There was a lot of people at the meeting. It went very well. That then followed with a motion that was brought to council by the executive mayor himself. And this is the first time in history that a political party brings in a motion against their own decision. And they rescinded the decision that was taken, or the council resolution that was taken last year, June, with the salary or the remuneration package of the municipal manager. And they have then decided that they will now appoint the municipal manager on the minimum salary level as per instructions of our national minister, and that he will be paying back almost 600,000 Rand for overpaid salary that he has received up until now. And that is where the vindication came in, obviously. But thereafter, there was also a march in Mossel Bay. Some of the opposition parties took part in the march. It wasn't a political march. It was once again a community initiative, wherein the Democratic Alliance once again tried to make it a political march, which it wasn't. But yeah, in a nutshell, that is what happened since we last spoke.
Wow. So it's all been happening in Mossel Bay, hasn't it?
It has. For such a small town, we sure have a lot of excitement and entertainment.
Well, look, I just have one question to ask regarding what you've just been saying. And that is that the municipal manager has to pay back nearly 600,000 rand because he was on the highest scale when he should have been on the lowest. Now, that's a shitload of money. How much do they get paid?
It is.
How much do they get? I mean, that's
He
600,000 rand. So how much does the lowest get paid? Because this is where all the rates are going to, just paying salaries for these people.
Yeah, see, well, he will be remunerated now. I do not have the actual figures in front of me, but
Yeah.
he will now receive a remuneration of 1.1 million a year, where it was 1.5 million a year.
Wow. Okay. But that's where all ratepayers' money is going then, into salaries.
Yes.
That is,
You know what's very funny, what I found very strange was that the political head was asked questions by the Report newspaper in South Africa.
yeah.
And and when he answered one of the questions, he actually said that some of the directors are now receiving a higher salary than what the municipal manager himself is currently receiving. So I am a little bit worried with regards to the remuneration that's been paid to directors on local government level. And I think it's something that should probably be investigated as well.
Now, when you say directors, are these employees of the municipality? And if so, what are they directors in?
Yes, so you've got the directors of different departments, and these directors, um, they answer to the municipal manager. So now, according to the political head Jaco Lund of the Democratic Alliance, who's also a member of parliament, according to him, these directors that is answering to the municipal manager is now actually earning more money than the municipal manager, which doesn't make sense at all.
Wow. So how many directors are there?
Oh goodness. So we've got corporate services, legal services, we've got finance, we have safety, we have community services. It's about 5 or 6.
So we're talking about, let's say, 5 million rand plus just to pay directors' salary. I'm getting a bit
Yes.
of feedback of my voice. Can you turn the audio down a little bit from my side?
Is that better?
I think so. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, much better. Now, okay, so we're talking about millions of rands that are being paid to directors who fall under the municipal manager.
Yes.
Wow. And how much do the councillors get paid? I mean, this must add up to tens of millions of rands in salaries.
Yes, the councillors, the local or the political office bearers are also being remunerated according to a government gazette.
Yeah.
It's also within legislation, and anybody can see what the amount is that they get paid. If you take my own salary,
Yeah.
when I used to be the portfolio chairperson of finance in the Garden Route District municipality, which is obviously a higher level municipality as Mossel Bay,
Yeah.
I used to clear about 54,000 rand a month. When I was recalled in Mossel Bay, a normal councillor basically gets out about 19 to 20,000 rand a month, and then you've got your mayoral committee, or you've got the Section 79 committee chairpersons who get a little bit more. I think it's about, talking under correction, but it might be around, I say 28 to 29,000 a month that you will clear, and then you have your mayoral committee that also earns a little bit more, and then your speaker and your deputy executive mayor and your mayor obviously earns more than that.
Yeah. Now, do you have a figure, an annual figure of how much money is spent on this bureaucracy within the Mossel Bay Council?
I will be lying if I have to give you a specific amount of money at the moment.
But ballpark.
If you take it to we've got 29 councillors, of which I would say we've got the mayor, the executive mayor, the speaker, or the executive mayor, deputy executive mayor, and speaker. That's about 8, 16, 24, 2.4. Your mayoral committee is 6. Yeah, I'm gonna need a calculator for this one. But yeah, it's basic. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money paid to councillors
so
alone.
if we work
Um,
on 25,000 rand per month for 30 people, that works out at, I think, at about 750,000 rand.
725,000.
About 750,000
But
per
then,
month. And then you multiply that by
that's
12,
only the
that's only the councillors.
yeah.
So that's 10 million
Well,
rand just for the councillors per year.
it will be much more than 10 million though. It will be much more because the 25, you can say that before deductions, a normal councillor earns about 25,000 rand. So you still have your Section 79 chairpersons, that's part of council, which earns a little bit higher, and then you've got your mayoral committee members who also earns a little bit more, and then the deputy executive, the speaker, that also earns more. So it will be much more than that.
You know, just a few years ago in South Africa, I know this because my mother was the personal assistant to the mayor in Greytown. The councillors earned nothing. They had other jobs. They earned nothing.
Yeah.
And the mayor earned
Yes,
nothing.
councillors in South Africa is not, it's how can you say, it has changed over the years, where those days it used to be really people in the community that more community workers, and they really wanted to make a change, and they probably got money to just go sit in a meeting, so it would be like a sort of seating allowance, and maybe kilometers that you could have claimed to council and back, but now it's an actual job now.
Yeah, but just to look at Mossel Bay, let's just look at ballpark figures. Let's not get into the exact nitty gritty, but 10 million rand per annum for the 29 councillors, plus or minus, and then let's say 10 million rand more for the mayor, for the municipal manager, for all these directors and all these other little positions. Let's work on a ballpark figure of 20 million rand per annum in salaries for all these bureaucrats. How many ratepayers do you have in Mossel Bay?
Sure. We've got a population of about 107,000, but that's obviously including under 18s, and that would be our total population.
But people who've got a
It's a little
home,
bit difficult for me to say. Say again?
So, all right. So let's say that you've got an average family of 4. Let's say that's 25,000 ratepayers paying $20 million in salaries.
20 million rand.
Sorry, 20 million rand. Yeah, 20 million rand in salaries for people at Mossel Bay. So that works out at about 1,000 rand, I think, per ratepayer.
800.
Yeah, well, somewhere around there. Well, let's round it up to 1,000 rand per ratepayer per annum, just paying for the salaries of those people who sit in council. Wow.
Yes, and that would actually be so wrong, because the salaries are very much more than that.
Yeah, well, we're just talking ballpark.
It would have been great if I could have pulled up the budget at the moment, so we could have discussed that.
Yeah. Now, okay, so let's just get back to what's going on in Mossel Bay. I understand that there are now some cases being put to the Hawks regarding what's been going on at the municipality in Mossel Bay. Are you able to talk about that?
What I can say, the case is ongoing at the moment, but what I can say is that opposition parties felt that they had no other choice. Uh, when Minister Anton Brodel wrote to the municipality to inform them that they are now, or his office is investigating, it was very, I don't want to say funny, but the letter read that he is investigating the appointment process. And that was never queried. There was nothing wrong with the process. So you can basically see where this is going to end up with. If he is going to investigate the process, he's going to say that there was nothing wrong. Like I said, it was never the process that was questioned. It was actually, obviously, the salary. So that letter left opposition councillors with absolutely no choice as to open up their own fraud and corruption cases at the South African Police Services, who then decided that they will hand over the docket to the Hawks, and the Hawks have been, or this, it was sent to their specialized corruption unit. And they are now, or they got statements from all of us. I also had to submit a statement, and mine was about 312 pages long. That's including my annexures and proof. That was 2 weeks ago that I had submitted the statement. So we will now, or we're waiting to hear from them.
Right. Now, look, there's something else we need to talk about, because you're right in the middle of this change where you've moved from the Democratic Alliance, now you're with the Freedom Front Plus. And you would have heard of the Moonshot Pact, which has been brought up by the Democratic Alliance.
It's not a Moonshot Pact anymore.
No. It's called something Charter of South Africa. What's it?
The Multi-Party Charter.
Multi-Party Charter of South Africa. Yeah, well, same girl, different panties, if I can put it that way. But the reason I'm talking about this is because if you look at the Freedom Front Plus and the way the Democratic Alliance have actually treated them in Mossel Bay, suggesting that they are now with the ANC, clearly this pact or this charter is really on shaky ground, isn't it?
Well, Scott, to be honest, this charter is based on what will happen after, or it's focused on after the 2024 provincial and national elections. In Mossel Bay specifically, the DA governs alone. There's no coalition in Mossel Bay as such. And the Freedom Front Plus in Mossel Bay at this stage, we are not a clone of the DA, nowhere in South Africa. The Freedom Front Plus is not a clone. We do feel that we can govern Mossel Bay better, and basically all of the towns being governed by the Democratic Alliance. But yeah, it's very sad that the Democratic Alliance chose to spread this false narrative with regards to the Freedom Front Plus trying to, or working with the ANC, which is absolutely ridiculous and will never happen.
Yeah.
I think that we have made a clear stance on that from, well, even before I joined the Freedom Front Plus. So it's sad. It's very sad because all of the parties in the multi-party coalition or multi-party charter, we are not supposed to be attacking each other. We are supposed to try to get voters from the ANC and the EFF. But it's a constant thing, especially in Mossel Bay, because like I said, within a month we had the Democratic Alliance attacking the Freedom Front Plus twice on the same thing. And it was absolutely ridiculous. It was untrue. So that is very, very sad. And that is why we are still opposition parties in Mossel Bay. And, well, most of the local governments, we are opposition parties to the DA as well. So, yeah.
Well, it does seem...
like I said...
It does seem like there are two sets of rules here. one for the Democratic Alliance and another for everybody else. And what I'm talking about here is that if the ANC get, let's say, 45% and the DA have 12%, and the ANC say to the DA, hey, come and join us and we'll form a coalition, John Steenhuisen has said, yeah, we'll do that. So they'll just walk away from that coalition. But if the coalition somehow get 51% of the vote, then they're all going to be brought into this multi-party charter for South Africa. How sweet and dandy will that be? But, you know, coalitions don't work because, you know, Freedom Front Plus and the Democratic Alliance, just like the Freedom Front Plus and the ANC, are diametrically opposed on so many key policies. So to try and get things to work in such a widespread group, I mean, you're heading for a disaster, aren't you?
Scott, my opinion, this is my opinion, Anco Barker's opinion. South Africa being such a diverse country with so many different religions and cultures, and we've got so many political parties. I just feel that it's too easy to start a political party. But apart from that, I don't think that there is another solution for South Africa apart from a coalition government, because there's no way that one party will be able to address the wants and needs and you know, how do you say it? It's impossible for one party to address all of that for such a diverse country. So it is very difficult with coalitions, but we have also seen, especially in this term, if you look at the Western Cape alone, there's 19 municipalities governed by the Democratic Alliance, but 11 of the 19, they are in coalition with the Freedom Front Plus. And that is also very sad because the Democratic Alliance does take the shine for everything that goes well in these 11 out of the 19 municipalities, and they never mention the fact that they are actually in a coalition with the Freedom Front Plus in these specific municipalities. So that's very sad. I don't think that a person needs a tap on the back, but do not take shine for something that you can't do without a specific person or party. So my opinion is South Africa being so diverse, as I said, coalition is the future. And the positive side about this is we've had people in local government, especially like in Mossel Bay, people would have voted for the Democratic Alliance here. So they would give up their Freedom Front Plus vote for the Democratic Alliance here because it's working. But nationally, they would have voted for the Freedom Front Plus. So now with coalition governments being the future of South Africa, every person would actually be able to vote for who they want to, for their own political party. They are not going to have to give up their vote for something to work locally. So we've got positives and we've got negatives. And like you said, it's going to be difficult to have so many parties trying to write one manifesto and sell this to the public. But like I said, if you have your Freedom Front Plus voters, the Freedom Front Plus in the coalition will make sure that the wants and needs of their voters and the rest of South Africa. But with regards to their policies will be followed, and so would the DA do the same, and UIM and the rest of the parties that's part of this multi-party charter. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens and what plays out. I mean, if the coalition or the multi-party charter pact doesn't reach the majority in 2024, then obviously this whole multi-party coalition will not take place. And obviously then the DA would most probably go with the ANC if they have the opportunity to be in power. So it will be interesting to see.
They would.
Yes, it will be interesting to see whether they are going to lie to their voters or keep to their word. What I also found very interesting was in the Western Cape, I think it was over the weekend, John Steenhuisen said that if the Western Cape is not governed by the Democratic Alliance, all hope will be lost. We have to keep the Western Cape in control or in DA control. So already before the 2024 elections, the Democratic Alliance is saying publicly, hope will be lost. You can only vote for us in the 2024 elections. Otherwise, the Western Cape is not going to work, which I found to be rather
underhand.
What's the word? It's a slap. It's a slap in the face, really. He's already talking against everything that they've worked on the past year and a half with these coalition parties.
Yeah. Now look, I spoke to Kenneth Michoud, the president of the African Christian Democratic Party, a few weeks ago. And I said to him, Kenneth, why aren't you getting involved in this, what was then called the Moonshot Pact before they changed its name? And he said, Scott, there's a very simple reason. Because you don't form coalitions before you have the vote. You form coalitions and discuss coalitions after the vote, because you never know what's going to happen. And he said for us to get involved in what's now called the Multi-Party Charter of South Africa would be ridiculous, because if we get a higher vote than we expected and there was some other way we wanted to form a coalition, we would do that, because that's what politics is all about. So you've got this incredibly fluid state of affairs when it comes to who's going to be doing what after the election. And having this coalition, all it does is corrals parties together, and they kind of feel obligated to the lead party, which is the Democratic Alliance. And I think this is where the ACDP drew the line and said, no, we're going to do this alone. What are your thoughts about what Kenneth said?
The idea with regards, or the initial idea with the Moonshot Pact and how it has been put together, it took a lot of groundwork from Dr. Corneille Mulder of the Freedom Front Plus.
Right.
He really did his homework. He's been in politics for so many years. Like I said, I think it's a wonderful idea with regards to the diverse communities we have in South Africa. I don't think there is another solution. So I understand what the ACDP is saying, but we need to also have our voters understand that this is going to be the only way, because it is going to be the only way to unseat the ANC if all these parties work together. It doesn't help and especially now when they've signed a contract, should these parties have the majority, it's the only way that we're going to unseat the ANC. I mean, the Democratic Alliance has been the biggest official opposition for the ANC for how long? And it's at 20%.
Yeah.
So they are actually big in South Africa, yet they only got 20% of voters. So there's no way that they will ever go above 50% by themselves. And so neither the Freedom Front Plus or the ACDP or the Patriotic Alliance or anybody, any other political party for that fact, it's never going to happen. So this is the only solution. And what gives me a little bit of what's the word? Or what gives me I don't know how to say this now.
Strength, hope.
But what's good about it is the fact that each person can now vote for their own party, especially if they know that their party is part of the multi-party charter of South Africa. They know that for now the biggest focus is to unseat the ANC. We do have the Democratic Alliance, or some people of the Democratic Alliance who publicly said that the ANC is now not the number one enemy anymore. It's the EFF, which is very weird because the EFF doesn't have a lot of seats in Parliament when you look at the ANC's seats in Parliament, but that's very, very funny actually. But together at this stage, the number one focus is to unseat the ANC. And if we can sell that to our voters and they believe and trust us, and that is why I'm really hoping that the Democratic Alliance will keep their word, especially to their voters.
Good luck with that. Look,
Yes.
I tell you I tell you what my problem with this whole thing is that if you look at the basic statistics, okay, the ANC I think got about 64% of the vote at the last national election, and there's let's say they lose 18% of that, so they land up with, which is a huge chunk of their vote. So let's say they go down to 46% of the vote, which means they have to form a coalition. Now, the only two logical parties that they can form a coalition with are either the Democratic Alliance, with about 20% of the vote, I think they get, or with the Economic Freedom Fighters, who have about 10 to 15% of the vote. Now, obviously, nobody wants them to form an alliance with the EFF. Can you imagine Julius Malema as deputy president? My gosh, that would be a horror story. But so clearly, what's going on? It's so clear. What's going to happen next year is the ANC. Let's say they get under 50%, they're going to form an alliance, hopefully with the Democratic Alliance and not the EFF. So there's no logical way that this coalition, when you look at the actual percentage of vote that the ANC have got and the percentage of vote that the DA and the EFF have got, there's no logical way that a coalition between either of those two with the ANC will be below 50%. In other words, this coalition, there's no way, unless there's a huge turnaround somehow, there's no way that this coalition will get over 50% of the vote. So it's like the Democratic Alliance are corralling all these parties into like this sideshow. And when the election happens next year, and Ramaphosa goes across to John Steenhuisen and he says, John, you know that agreement we had last year, let's formalize it, bang, gone. And that's it. The coalition will just disappear. The multi-party charter of South Africa will fall into a pile of dust. There's no way that there can be another outcome. It's just statistically impossible unless there's a complete collapse in the vote for the ANC, which is not going to happen. I spoke to Muzi Nkosi, who lives in Nelspruit area, and he lives in the townships. And I said to him, look, what's happening with regards to the ANC? Because they don't get service delivery, they don't get this, they don't get that. He says, you know, these guys, they can't see any other option but to vote for the ANC, even though the things are falling into a shit can. And that's the reality of what's happening in the townships, in these squatter camps, in these little rural areas. The only way a coalition can make a mark is by going door to door within those townships and explaining to people face to face what the ANC have done to the country, because they don't get it.
Well, there's two things. Number one, the Democratic Alliance should stop making enemies out of their multi-party charter partners.
Exactly.
They are supposed to help the multi-party charter parties are supposed to not fight each other. Everybody's supposed to fight the ANC.
Yeah.
Yet we still have the Democratic Alliance attacking the Freedom Front Plus and the ACDP, especially in the Western Cape.
Yeah.
So, you know, we need that adult moment, if you can call it that, for the Democratic Alliance to decide, okay, we are not supposed to try to take each other's voters. Let's all try to get the ANC voters. The problem with most of the people voting for the ANC is the fact that they are very uneducated with regards to politics and government and. So yes, you are completely right. We are going to have to do door-to-door canvassing in all of those areas to explain to the people exactly what it is that's happening in government, and because they don't know. the ANC will tell them anything and give them a parcel and make all of these promises. I almost said something that I shouldn't, but they will make all of these promises and the people will believe them.
Do tell.
We have other political parties that also makes promises that they don't keep. But door-to-door canvassing is very, very important. The other thing is we've got a lot of people in South Africa that doesn't vote, especially the young people and the very old people. So our older age people are of the opinion it's not going to help if I vote. It doesn't matter. It's not going to make a difference. We need to get our special votes. Everybody that cannot move or has been sick or in the old age homes, we need to get the IEC to go there to do special votes and take their votes there. We also have to start focusing on the youth. I mean, the youth of today will be the leaders of tomorrow, and I've been saying this for so long. We need to put more into our youth. We need to empower them, and we need to educate them with regards to government and what their vote actually does, because this is for their future. I am now out of the youth age, although I feel very much if I can be youth still. But even for me, there's still a lot of years left for me in South Africa.
Yeah.
But if you look at our youth between the age of 18 and 25, those are the people that we are working for here, because it's their future.
Yeah.
Sorry?
That's the vote you need.
Yes, we need them, and there are so many of them. I have seen, even with my video, I have seen that a lot of youngsters in South Africa is interested in politics, which is a little bit of a turn. But then also, if you see who they are interested in, then you start getting worried again. So a lot of youngsters are actually going with the EFF, which I was about to say, always understand.
I was about to say, you must have seen that 10th birthday celebration that Malema had at FNB Stadium. Nearly 100,000 people, all dressed in red T-shirts and red caps, were jumping up and down with Malema. I mean, I have never seen that sort of show, even with the ANC or the DA or anybody else. I mean, no one else could fill a stadium like that. That shows an incredible amount of support for that party. And that's the youth. That's the 18 to 25s who are in there.
Yes, a lot. Like I said just now, the youth are actually following the EFF for some other reason. But then once again, with 100,000 people at FNB, I promise you that maybe 50%, or at least 50% of them just went for the free drinks and food. And because they got a T-shirt probably. Because that's what happens in small towns like Mossel Bay as well.
Yeah.
Some of our voters will actually take food parcels from one political party, and they will even bribe with this political party, but they will still in the voting station vote for another political party.
Yeah.
So they are taking advantage of the situation. So I wouldn't be, I'm worried about the EFF in the sense that he did, like you said, fill up FNB Stadium, but I have faith that most people only went there for the party and not for the political party, if you understand what I'm saying. But yes, I am concerned about our youth. Half of them doesn't vote. It's better for them to, I don't know, lie at home on voting day because they don't want to stand in a queue. Or the other problem is they do not understand the importance of their vote. So I think that what all of us should be doing, everybody in the multi-party charter, we are going to have to zoom into our youth, and we need to empower them. We need to educate them. That's very important. Something that I would love to see in South Africa, and one day if I can, I will probably, this will be my number one thing that I would go for, is that instead of teaching our children about sex in grade 8 and 9, we should probably think of starting to educate them with political science as a subject or as a module somewhere, we are going to have to bring politics into our schools, because you've got this child that turns 18 in matric, and then everybody tells them you need to go vote. But this child has got absolutely no idea what politics are and why they should vote. I have so many friends, and I mean, these are friends that's been following me since I started at the Democratic Alliance, and they would tell me, I've got no idea what's going on in politics. Absolutely no idea.
Yeah.
But that's the problem, because they are actually differentiating politics from what's happening in your city and in your country. Politics is here to stay. So nobody is saying that you need to get into the dog eat dog political arena, but you need to understand it. That's why I think it's very important for our education syllabus to include political science, especially from grade 10 to 12, I would say. That would make a big difference in South Africa already.
Well, I tell you what the problem I see is that you've got a growing number of people who never lived under the apartheid era where everything worked. You've got now, if you take post-1994, I'd say that anyone under the age of 35 really has no idea how a country could be run, and they now accept how South Africa is being run as just par for the course. They've got no idea that there's so much corruption going on, that there's so much incompetency, so many cadres just been elected, and that means that they are completely oblivious to the reason why South Africa has become a shithole, and they don't realize it's because of the ANC. I think that's the biggest problem. That's the elephant in the room. It's the young people who've grown up under the bullshit that people are now facing across South Africa. They don't have anything to compare with how it should be.
I'm also one of those that did not grow up in apartheid. And this is a conversation I have so many times. I do not know what apartheid is. Since I can remember, I had different races of friends in school, like in my class.
Can I just be clear that I'm not talking about I'm talking about the quality of service pre-1994. This has nothing to do with race. This is to do with how things should be run, and how things are run now are just to people who are young, just the way they are. They have no idea that things could be better, especially in the villages and the rural areas and the townships. They have no idea, the young people.
That is true. But we are also going to say that in those years, we had a lot less people than what we have now. But I think that is why I say it's very important for us to educate all of our youth, because they don't know what it used to look like, but they know what it looks like now, and they can see that it's absolutely disastrous. So it's very difficult for me to say this in English now. They do not know that they can strive for a specific government that used to be, because we do not want that. We do not want the apartheid government back.
Of course
but
not.
They know that they can strive for better than they have at the moment.
Yeah.
Because what they have at the moment is the fact that they're not going anywhere. I mean, there are South Africans, and I'm not only talking about one race. We've got all of the races of South Africa. We've got the youth leaving South Africa. They are looking for better opportunities elsewhere because they are not getting jobs in South Africa.
Yeah.
So everybody, or the youth of today, they can strive for so much better than what they are used to, because they're only used to this nonsense that we are in now, that started from 1994. I think that sometimes think that Nelson Mandela would probably turn in his grave if he sees what happens with what happened with the ANC and what they did with South Africa, because it was never his intention for South Africa to be like this, which is also sad.
Yeah.
because when you look at what he wanted freedom and fairness for everybody, which is actually now also the values and principles of the Democratic Alliance. Yet, like the ANC, they are not they're not zooming in on that. They are not being, fair. There's no freedom really. They decide where and what. So, yeah, I think that we should all go back to the drawing board.
Yeah.
And we should realize the importance of the voters, everybody in South Africa, the education with, between our voters. And we need to be honest with our voters.
Yeah.
I mean, we have people that say, okay, well, the Freedom Front Plus took over in the 2021 elections in my ward, but nothing has changed. It's only been, what, a year and a half. You cannot change something that was buggered up, sorry for my language, over so many years and have it be or change it and turn it around in a year. That's absolutely impossible. You can get everything in line, but you're not going to miraculously have a 360 degree in what's going on within a year. And that's where I'm saying we need to be honest with our voters and stop. We can't have political parties giving these empty promises knowing that they can't do something. Be honest and do your best.
Yeah, look, that's a story for another day. I actually have a very interesting live stream scheduled for next month where we're going to be talking about how much corruption there is going on in the Stellenbosch mafia. It's quite extraordinary what's happening in that area. Now, look, I just want to get back to this multi-party charter of South Africa. What I noticed was that Steenhuisen said that the Patriotic Alliance, it's a party he mentioned earlier, are not welcome in this coalition because they dudded the DA in Johannesburg. Now, it's interesting because the Freedom Front Plus, the DA are saying that the Freedom Front Plus dudded them in Mossel Bay because they were voting with the ANC. So if you look at how they twist things, I'm talking about the Democratic Alliance, it's a bit of a concern that they're now starting to exclude parties who have upset the Democratic Alliance and not any other of the coalition parties. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm very worried with regards to the specific subject that you have brought up now, because the Democratic Alliance is only trying to keep the Patriotic Alliance out, which I do not understand why. I do, for a fact, know that many of the DA voters are going to the Patriotic Alliance. A lot. I mean, they are streaming from the DA to the PA, and especially in the Western Cape. So I think that the DA is trying, once again, this whole, what's frees in English, they've got this fear tactic that they use, and the only reason why the Democratic Alliance is, outrightly and outspokenly talking about the Patriotic Alliance as being the wrong party and they are busy with this and this and this and that, is the fact that they are scared because the Patriotic Alliance is taking away a lot of the DA's voters.
Yeah.
And that's concerning. I would say that's very concerning, because we would think that a party that's growing so rapidly, and I must say the Patriotic Alliance is growing rapidly. Gayton McKenzie is everywhere in South Africa at the moment, and wherever there's by-elections, the Patriotic Alliance is taking away wards, and they're not just only taking away wards from the ANC, they're actually also taking away wards from the Democratic Alliance, and that frightens the Democratic Alliance.
Yeah.
So, that is a very sensitive subject to talk about, but that is just my 5 cents to it.
It was just an observation that they appeared to be selecting certain parties for exclusion, and yet other ones they're encouraging to be part of this coalition. It's just interesting. Now, there's one other issue that I read about, and I'm not sure whether this has legs or not, but apparently the Youth League of the IFP are very, very unhappy that the IFP have become involved in this coalition. Have you heard about that?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, well, that's what I read in
Sorry.
an online article. I think it was in IOL. It's in one of your local papers, where they were saying that the IFP Youth League are most unhappy with the political party being involved with the DA and this coalition.
You know what, Scott? I think that every political party that is a part of this multi-party charter should start within their own political party and also just maybe, I don't know, it's easy to say do Zoom or team meetings, but I think that every party should go back to their own not only the voters, I'm actually talking about the representatives of the party
Yeah.
in local and provincial and national government, and explain to them exactly what it is that they are trying to do. That might be a case of they don't understand what the multi-party charter is all about. They haven't read the goals and the manifesto or anything like that. So I think the political party should go back to their own people and really spend time on educating their own people as well with regards to the multi-party charter. That would also erase any confusion with regards to representatives of a party speaking to the voter on the ground. So I'm not very well, or I'm not aware of what you just told me, but I think that is a problem. It doesn't help them only just giving us this charter agreement. It should be a discussion within each party.
Well,
So, yeah.
I actually think the IFP have got the best chance of actually getting down to the grassroots of their population, because the Zulus in KZN still tend to be very tribal. So, you can actually go into those villages and you can actually talk to people and explain to them why the ANC have screwed up the country. If you look at other areas in South Africa, especially in the townships, it's interesting because Colleen Serfontein made a very interesting point. He said that what's happened amongst a lot of the black population in South Africa is that they've lost their cultural ties. They used to be a member of the Xhosa village. Now they live in a township in Soweto, and they're no longer tied to that cultural side with the where you have Ubuntu, where the whole village sort of brings up a child sort of thing. Now you've got this situation where they're kind of just part of this mass of humanity, and KZN tends to be the exception. That's why I think the Inkatha Freedom Party could actually make some ground in moving votes away from the ANC. But I think in other areas, especially like the townships like Soweto and Alexandria, even Kailicha, I mean, you've completely lost that cultural tie, the tribal background, and I think that's a problem.
And another problem is that we've got so many representatives that's only there for their own pockets. They are there for power and for money. That is the big problem, because they would go into a collision with anybody just to get the power. And that is also a problem in our country today.
Yeah.
Because it's not about doing what is right. It's about looking after your own pocket. That is a major problem. I don't know if it can be fixed even.
Yeah.
But I would have loved to see how many politicians would be working so very hard if they didn't earn the money that they're earning at the moment.
Yeah. Look, it's become a bit of a money bath for the people in power. Let's face it.
Yeah.
Well, look, I just want to thank you for coming on tonight and sharing some thoughts with us. I mean, I've bombarded you regarding the Moonshot Pact, which is, or the multi-party charter of South Africa. But I think it's an important issue politically because the ANC have now kind of tried to set up their own little equivalent of that, and I don't think it's been very successful. Not that the ANC succeeded anything. But look, is there anything you'd like to just add to this discussion that we've been having? Any thoughts? Anything that you'd like to clarify?
You know, the past month and a half in Mossel Bay, which is a very, very small town in South Africa,
Yeah.
but even for such a small town that has been so, faithful towards the Democratic Alliance, if you want to say it like that, people are realizing what's happening when you have a majority ruling within a council. I mean, we have here in Mossel Bay exactly what South Africa is facing with the ANC. In Mossel Bay, the DA is the ANC, if you understand what I'm saying, for the opposition parties. So people are realizing we cannot have this. We need we need opposition who can be part of, like I said, the coalition, to make sure that the one specific party doesn't just do whatever they want and pay whoever they want to what amount of money they decide on. We need the one party to make sure that the other party is staying in line and vice versa. And that is why for instance, I am for coalition government. Because if in Mossel Bay, if we had a coalition, the DA and the Freedom Front Plus, I can assure you that this wouldn't have happened what happened here. Because there are so many people that's coming out with problems. I get my phone rings off the hook every day. People are wanting someone to help them. They are, they're almost thirsty for help, but they have given up even in Mossel Bay. And this is what's happening in South Africa. So if we can just restore faith in our voters and make sure that they understand and help them. I mean, that is a public representative's work. You need to help your people in your community. Help these people. Don't just, when they phone you or make contact with you, it doesn't matter how big or how small, just try to assist this person. It would make a massive difference in South Africa. It would. I can see in Mossel Bay already. I have so many people asking me, please, can we sign up with the Freedom Front Plus?
Yeah.
And I'm talking about all races in this town. People are really genuinely opening up their mouths. They are seeing what's happening. They do not want one political party to rule this town. They don't want that. And that is a good thing. And that's why I'm saying coalition governments, being the future is a good thing for South Africa. So, yes, I am hoping that whatever is happening in Mossel Bay is actually happening right through South Africa, where people are taking back their voice. They are taking back their power because, you know what? The citizens are not supposed to be afraid of the government. The government should be afraid of their citizens because it's the citizen that makes the decision at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
And I think somewhere along the line, that whole thing disappeared, and people are now realizing, this is not how it's going to work. We're taking back our voice and we're taking back our power, and that is a good thing. So I am really hoping that whatever is happening in Mossel Bay is happening right through South Africa. Can this be an example of what's supposed to happen?
Yeah. Well, look, I just want to say that I'm a big supporter of the Freedom Front Plus. I think that they're the best political party in South Africa. I think they've got a tremendous chance of increasing their vote this year, or next year rather. And I just also want to make the point that I think next year's election, we talked about the importance of the age group 18 to 25. I would extend that to 18 to 35. They're the people who
Yes.
really haven't grown up pre-1994, so they aren't aware of how things should be. I think getting through the message, if it's a mail drop or whatever it is, to that age group of how bad the ANC are and how they've destroyed the country, I think if you can get that message through, then you have a chance. If you can't get that message
Yes.
through, you're gone. Because
You're going to have a problem.
the economic freedom fighters are going to walk in and take that vote. I think that's what's going to happen.
I completely agree with you. We are going to have to put a lot of work into our youth. And like you said, it's actually 16 to 35. Although you cannot vote up until the age of 18, you can join, like be an actual member of or some political parties
Yeah.
at the age of 16. And if I go back to what I said to you with regards to our, bringing this into our education syllabus, it's good that you've got 16-year-olds that is showing some interest in politics, because it means that they want a different South Africa. They are fed up of what it is, what it's like at the moment. So yes, I completely agree with you. We are going to have to put a lot of hard work and weight into our youth.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to wrap up this.
And we can make use of them.
Absolutely.
Make use of your youth.
Yeah.
The political parties can make use of their youth. Pull them in, let them canvass for you, educate them, let them
Absolutely.
canvass,
Yeah.
let them feel important, let them, I don't know. That is what we are supposed to do, especially now. We've got so many youth that's sitting at home that doesn't have any jobs. Create that job for them, especially now.
Yeah.
Because if they then go and vote and we have a better South Africa, there will be more job opportunities. So let them help get South Africa to be where we want it to be.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to wrap up the live stream, but there's a comment here in the side chat I'd like to read to you. And I totally agree with this comment. And it's Inspector YT who says, "My money's on people like Anco, and I like her suggestions. The group does need to revisit the drawing board and make effort to work together. I like this lady." And I think, guys, that in 10 years' time, we're looking at the future mayor of Mossel Bay. How's that?
Can you imagine?
Under the Freedom Front Plus. There we go.
It would definitely be under the Freedom Front Plus, yes.
Yeah, well, that's
But if that should happen in a couple of years, I would be honored
well, we would definitely
to serve the people of Mossel Bay.
We would definitely have you back on the live stream to be talking about that journey.
Oh, definitely.
Okay, fantastic.
I would gladly accept.
Anco, have a great evening, and we might actually get you in sort of early next year to talk about how things are progressing towards that 2024 election, if you'd like to participate in that.
No problem.
Okay, fantastic.
No, that's perfectly fine.
Okay. Alrighty, take care and
Thank
have a
you,
great
Scott.
evening. Bye for now.
Thank you, you too. Enjoy. Bye.
Bye. All right, guys, that was Anco Barker, and yes, I like that lady too, Inspector.
I like that lady too, Inspector.
No. Anco, can you turn your audio down, because it's coming back through to my live stream. There we go, that's better. Right, now, just for the record, the live streams that I've got planned for tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to talk to someone who knows a lot about surviving. So we're going to be talking about how do you survive in South Africa going forward. That's tomorrow night. And then on Wednesday, this Wednesday night's going to be an absolute, it's huge. It's pre-recorded. We've already had the recording. It goes for 2 hours. But in there we're going to go through what happened at 9/11, what the implications are, and I'm going to be displaying for the first time some video footage that has not been published, It's from a car park with a CCTV camera pointing directly at where the plane hit the Pentagon. Remember that? 9/11? Well, wait till you see the video footage. You might have a rethink about that. And that's on happening Wednesday night. And I'm talking to Andre Kreis, who's been collecting information on things like 9/11, what happened in Iraq, what happened in Libya, some really, really interesting and powerful stuff that we'll be putting out there. And I'll be putting out 2 PDFs on the Loving Life TV forum. And they'll be linked below the video that goes on Loving Life TV, which give you a whole lot of supporting information, which is really extraordinary. And Thursday night we have Melissa Nieuwhout, and we're going to be talking about emotions. And Melissa's always a lot of fun. And Friday night we've got Debbie van Lingen, who's got a bit of a beef with the SPCA, and she raises Yorkies, and the SPCA have not been kind to her, if I can put it that way. So there you go. That's our live streams for the rest of this week. And as I say, we got some crackers coming up in September. Really, really big stuff. All right, I'm going to go out with, I should have planned this, shouldn't I? Sorry, guys, I'm looking for my, okay, here we go. I'm going to go out with Op Ons Rots this time. If I can get my computer to cooperate, that'd be great. Oh, there we go. Now, go to there. Last time I did this, Marlena had a go at me. Sorry, Marlena. Okay, guys, Op Ons Rots. Have a great evening. Bye for now. See you tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Johannesburg time. Here we go.
Ons loop hand aan hand op goue warm sand, so baie wat ek wil hê, so baie dit brand. Ek staan op my rots met golwe wat bots. Ons het geen vrees, want hy is in beheer. Ons sien al die planne van goddeloze manne. Ons weet hulle gaan nie wen nie. Dis geskryf soos 'n duif. Ons sal wen, aanhou glo, want hy is in beheer. Waai sterk, dis kragte wat werk. Die gevoel in my hart, dis vrees wat wil brand. Ons is boere met trots, met my hand teen my bors. Ons ken geen vrees, want hy is in beheer. Ons sien al die planne van goddeloze manne. Ons weet hulle gaan nie wen nie. Dis geskryf soos 'n duif. Ons sal wen, aanhou glo, want hy is in beheer. Ons sien wat gebeur, die leer sal ons nie steen. Kom slaan nog 'n keer, ek is stil, want ek weet, hy is in beheer. Ons sien al die planne van goddeloze manne. Ons weet hulle gaan nie wen nie. Dis geskryf se duif, ons sal wen, aanhou glo, want hy is in beheer. Ja, hy is in beheer.